Gasoline prices continue rising. They have already more than doubled since President Obama was sworn in. We're pleased to be joined by Texas Congressman Ted Poe. Welcome to Newsmax again, sir.
Good to talk to you, Ashley.
You're from the country's largest oil-producing state. You say the Obama administration's opposition to expanding oil production shows it as a nothing-from-below energy policy, not the all-of-the-above policy it advertises. Please comment on that.
The administration's policy is nothing from below the ground, nothing from below the sea. And therefore, we have stonewalled, or say the administration has stonewalled energy production in the United States by not granting more permits, by not allowing there to be more offshore drilling on public lands, and of course the Keystone pipeline delaying the implementation of that.
Obama says gas prices are beyond his control, but former House Speaker Newt Gingrich proposes a $2.50 a gallon energy plan. Do you agree with Obama, and if not, what is your plan to bring down gasoline prices?
The energy in the United States is based on a lot of factors. But one of the factors, it's a commodity, crude oil, for example, traded all over the world. And as long as we are dealing with Middle Eastern unrest and turmoil, the speculators continue to raise the price of crude oil. One way we can make Middle Eastern politics, their turmoil, irrelevant is to quit dealing with those folks. And we can do that by starting first with building the entire Keystone XL pipeline all the way from Alberta, Canada, down to my district in Texas. When this pipeline is fully operational, it will bring into the United States from a stable country almost as much crude oil as we get from Saudi Arabia. So we don't need to deal with Iran and them threatening the Straits of Hormuz and raising the price of oil. Let's deal with an ally, and it's also drill in the United States and use all of the types of energy that we have, that the good Lord's given us. Let's use all of those types of energy and be self-sufficient.
All right, you mentioned the pipeline. Obama has approved a portion of the pipeline. Is that of any useful value without approving the rest of it?
Well, we need to get all of the oil from Alberta down to Texas, not just some of it that is in different locations along the pipeline. And this is a start. We need the pipeline the entire distance, but we need especially that portion in Nebraska on the rerouting. I mean, the folks in Nebraska work with the Canadians. They picked a different route. Let's approve this and start getting the crude oil. It's not like this is an overnight decision. The approval process has taken longer than World War II. Now, come on, how long do you need to make up your mind whether or not you're going to allow this pipeline? And pipelines are the safest way to transport crude oil. We need to have the pipeline.
Over 3 years so far for the environmental studies, right?
That is correct.
Okay, you know, critics say it doesn't matter because the oil from that pipeline would be exported overseas and that it is not destined for use in the U.S. Is there any truth to that, or are they just making that up?
Well, I don't know where they're getting those statistics. My understanding from all of those involved, from Port Arthur, Texas, to the Canadians, is that at least 95% of that will be used in the United States. If there is an excess, then sure, like any other business, it will be allowed to be exported. Of course we can do that. But most of it will be used. 95% will be used in the United States for American energy, because we need it here in the United States.
You mentioned speculators before. Might just approval of that whole pipeline cause gas prices to come down by discouraging speculators?
Yes, if it was immediately approved. If the President announced today, changed my mind, we're going to build that pipeline and we're going to build it now, the price of world crude, in my opinion, would drop dramatically because of it is a commodity and it is speculated.
Your speaker, John Boehner, blames Obama and radical environmental groups for the high gas prices. Do Republicans plan to make that a major issue in the presidential campaign?
Yes, it will be a major issue in the presidential campaign. When the president took office, gasoline was around $1.96 a gallon. We remember those days? But now it's almost double that price, and probably by the middle of the summer it's going to be $5, maybe more than $5. The cost of people having to get to work, but also the cost of transporting goods across the United States rises, and the consumer pays all of that. And we don't have to do that because we can lower the gasoline prices by doing everything in the U.S. To do so, use our own natural resources, and it will be a campaign issue because the pocketbook and gasoline are always campaign issues.
couple of other subjects. As a member of the House Judiciary Committee, you are one of several politicians from both sides of the political spectrum, right and left, supporting use of cameras in the U.S. Supreme Court. Why?
When I was a judge in Texas for 22 years, tried criminal cases, I was one of the first to allow cameras in the courtroom to film the trial, not the jury, not the witnesses. And the critics and the cynics said, oh, you can't do that, it'll be a sideshow. It wasn't. We proved it worked. And now we're dealing with the Supreme Court, the most powerful, most important court in the world. And if you're in the courtroom, you can see the proceedings. The courtrooms are very small. Why should the American public be denied access to just viewing the proceedings that take place on these important decisions our court's going to make? They shouldn't be. Put a camera where no one can see it to allow the viewers, the American public, to see these proceedings, see the lawyers, see the judges, see the comments. That can be done. You don't need any lights. Cameras are very small these days. Times have changed. So it's time for us to have open access to the Supreme Court for the American public to view it. It can be done. Let's just go ahead and get it done.
You're also on the Foreign Affairs Committee. Israel has informed the United States it will not give the Obama administration a heads up if it decides to strike Iran's nuclear facilities. What's your reaction to that?
It shows the mutual distrust, I think, between the administration and Israel. Unfortunately, Israel used to be the closest partner we had in the world, especially in the war on terror. So the Israelis are not so sure about American foreign policy. They're not so sure if we'll cover their back if they have a problem and have to go in to Iran. So they're not going to tell us. We've already heard the administration say, not so fast, let's negotiate. Israel is fighting for its survival. It's surrounded by people who want to destroy the nation. So Israel has made that decision that they're going to do what's best for self-defense of their country, and they really can't count on us. So unfortunately, we're not reliable. At least they think we're not reliable, and they're not going to tell us if they go into Iran.
Russia has upgraded a surveillance station it maintains in Syrian territory, reportedly, in order to provide Iran early warning of an Israeli attack. Is there growing animosity between Moscow and Washington?
Well, in my opinion, there is. The Russians are still the same. There's no longer any Soviet Union, but their philosophy and their worldview continues, in my opinion, to be the same. And they want to be a big player in that portion of the world. They want to have some control, some power, some influence. One of those ways is to help the Syrians and warn them if the Israelis promote a strike. So we all understand where the Russians are in this world conflict.
Texas Representative Ted Poe, as always, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ashley.
And thank you for watching Newsmax TV.